I will say that the way that this is going for both fighters, it starts to feel like it's whoever gets to who first. Although we've seen Anthony Joshua in trouble and come back from it, we haven't seen Deontay Wilder in that kind of difficulty come back. I think Wilder's best chance in that fight is to get him out in the first 3 or 4 rounds. I believe if the fight goes on, Joshua's strength could be an impact, but we'll see. Joshua is probably technically a better fighter than Wilder. Wilder is quicker, has better movement, is more difficult to figure out because he's so unorthodox and unconventional sometimes. Both fighters have certain things that they can bring into this fight as a plus. Boxing has had a great year in 2017, and heading into 2018, it's looking like all great matches are being made for this coming year as well. The Wilder-Joshua fight would go a long way toward putting boxing right back on a path it should be, and it would help build on 2017, which was really special. Those are the words of Showtime veteran boxing analyst Al Berstein, talking about this potential unification between IBF and WBA heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua and WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder. He sees it as a case of who lands first. He thinks Wilder's best chance is early. I've mentioned this before, but to recap here for you, in case you don't know my views on this fight. I believe the Anthony Joshua-Deontay Wilder fight, if it takes place anytime soon, let's say over the next year, I think it's going to be a very cagey affair. I think it could turn out to be a disappointing fight. A fight that could actually go the distance, to points. I think both guys will be very, very wary of the other guy's not only punching power, but the other guy's strengths. Deontay Wilder, whenever he fights big, tall guys, tends to be very low volume. We saw that most recently against Gerald Washington. He hardly threw any punches. He was just looking for the one right hand. He did the same earlier on in his career against Kelvin Price. Whenever he fights a guy a similar height to himself, his punch volume goes way down. And he just thinks about defense and he thinks about landing one big shot. Joshua is a lot slower than Deontay Wilder. Not just slower in terms of hand speed, also foot speed. He's not as mobile as Wilder. He knows. Joshua's a smart guy. He knows boxing. He knows that Wilder is going to be lethal at long range. He knows that he can launch that right hand from a great distance and tag him on the chin with it. And I'm talking about Wilder. Joshua knows Wilder can launch that right hand and hit him on the chin, right? He's going to look to press the action. That's what I believe will happen in this fight. It will be very, very cautious early on. Joshua will look to make slow increments forward. Okay, he's not going to rush at Wilder, I don't think. He's going to be cautious about it. He's going to pick his shots carefully. He's going to maybe throw a few right hands to the body when he can. When they're getting close, he's going to try and use his size, throw Wilder around, try and get body shots off where he can. But it's going to be a cagey affair, I think, because Joshua's going to be concerned about Wilder's right hand and Wilder's speed. That's what he's going to be concerned about. And Deontay Wilder, he's always concerned when he fights tall guys. He's going to be low volume and he's going to be moving around looking for the opportunity to land a big right. And I think it's going to be a chess match. And it's going to be who slips up first, not who lands first necessarily, who slips up, although, you know, the two go hand in hand, I guess. But my point is, I think it'll probably go into the late rounds. If somebody does slip up, I think it's more likely to happen later on in the fight when somebody gets tired. And both guys now have shown that they can turn it on late in fights. Wilder has shown it more than Joshua, okay? But Joshua did show it in his last fight against Takam. He can open up on a guy late. And it was a very premature stoppage, don't get it twisted. But he was landing good punches and he was opening up. Wilder has stopped plenty of people late. I mean, he's been 12 rounds with Stavern and he had plenty of gas in the tank late in that fight. He stopped Johan Duopa late. He stopped Artur Spilka late. You know, he's been late in fights and stopped guys. One punch knockout as well of Artur Spilka. So Joshua's going to have to be wary of that big right hand from Wilder for the whole 12 rounds. You know? Late in the fight, that's where I think a breakthrough could happen for either man. But I'd be interested. When this fight gets made, I'd be interested to see what the odds are for a points decision. Because I think if you're a gambling man, you might want to put some money down on an Anthony Joshua points win. I reckon, you know, depending on what the odds are, it might not be a bad bet. Because that's the kind of fight I see happening. Based upon what I've seen of both fighters, I think it's going to be cagey. I think Joshua will be slightly more aggressive. But it's not going to be the Joshua that fought Dylan White, you know. It won't even be the Joshua that fought Dominic Brazil. This is going to be a much more cautious Joshua, more similar to the Joshua that fought Klitschko, slightly more assertive than that, because in the early rounds against Klitschko, Joshua was kind of boxing on the back foot. No, I think Joshua will be making small increments forward. In fact, he'll try and do what he did against Dominic Brazil, but he won't be landing as many punches because Wilder is way faster than Dominic Brazil. I mean, it's not even close how much faster Wilder is than Brazil. So, yeah, it'll be a similar situation, a similar kind of style that Joshua will try and implement, you know, creeping forward, looking to be precise with his punches. But Wilder will remain elusive, I think, and the threat of that big right hand landing will keep Joshua from really stepping on the gas, you know. Anyway, just my musings on this particular matchup. Let me know what you felt about Al Bernstein's take on the fight, that Wilder's best chance is early. You know, when is Wilder's best chance? Wilder's best chance is whenever he lands the right hand. That's when his best chance is, and that can come at any time. So I don't necessarily see it as Wilder early or Joshua later on. No. I see it as any man at any time, actually. And in fact, let me backtrack a little bit. I actually think Wilder's best chance in this fight might even be late. When Joshua's big muscles get heavy with lactic acid and his arms start dropping a little bit, that's when Wilder's best chance might be. Wilder is a much more slender, fighter. Much more slender. His muscles are not going to feel as heavy in those late rounds. And I think he'll be able to get off explosive, fast punches more so than Joshua will late. So yeah, I'm going to say that Deontay Wilder's best chance is actually late in the fight. And that Joshua's best chance is just to not get hit by the right hand. He might actually have a better chance of winning early, when he's still fresh. So anyway, let me not waffle on too long here, people. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about my views on this fight, and also Al Bernstein's views on the fight. All right? It's happening. I'm out.